Hello there, and today we are watching 3 true horror stories, animated.
Hey Wanzi, I've been watching your videos for a while, and I finally have a
Alright.
story to share with you. This one isn't mine, but it happened to a classmate of mine back when I was in year 9. I'll do my best to retell it the way it was told to me. For privacy reasons, let's call him Andrew. It all started at the end of a normal school day. Most of the students at our school would take public transport home. Buses, trams, trains, you name it. Andrew was Asian, tall, pretty built, and very popular. After school, he'd usually hang out with friends or go on dates. But on this day, he decided to head home with his younger brother, who was in year 7. We'll call his brother Ben. When they got on the bus, Andrew sat near the back, and Ben went all the way to the last row to sit with his friends. Everything seemed normal until the bus made another stop. That's when he got on. A large boy, maybe 16 or 17, towering over everyone, stepped onto the bus. He had a long scar running down the side of his face, and he wasn't wearing a school uniform, which meant he didn't go to our school. As he stepped on, he was muttering to himself, pacing the aisle slowly like he couldn't decide where to sit. Andrew didn't think much of it. He just kept looking down at his phone. The boy walked down the aisle of the bus and sat next to Andrew, and without warning, swung a fist right at Andrew's head.
What
the punch
the fuck?
connected. Andrew was caught off guard, but snapped out of it, furious and ready to fight back. But before he could do anything, the boy just turned around and stormed toward the back of the bus, where Ben and his friends were sitting. I should probably mention, Ben was short, quiet, and definitely not someone who could defend himself in a fight. The boy tried to hit Ben, but just before he could land a punch, an elderly woman sitting near the front of the bus shouted at him, demanding he stop. He turned, furious, and punched the woman in the face. At this point, the bus was in total chaos. Andrew was frozen, trying to make sense of what was happening. This guy had to be mentally unstable. That was the only explanation.
Yeah, this guy gets on, punches a high schooler. The elder lady's like, "Stop that right now!" He goes over here, fucking haymakers her too. Why is the bus continue to going? Why is the bus still going? Why wouldn't the bus just like pull the brake lever and send the boy flying through the windshield, you know?
But it wasn't over. The boy made his way toward the bus driver, fists clenched, and tried to hit him while he was driving. That nearly caused a full-on crash. Thankfully, at the next stop, 2 security guards, who had been contacted by the driver during all the commotion, were already waiting. They stepped onto the bus and blocked the aisle, trying to calm the boy down. It turned out to be a big mistake. The moment he saw them, the boy snapped again, swinging wildly at both.
I know this is supposed to be serious, but brother, he's like, I can't believe you punched him.
A full-on brawl broke out right there in the aisle. The guards managed to wrestle him to the floor and held him down while the rest of the passengers, including Andrew, Ben, and the driver, evacuated the bus.
God damn.
A few minutes later, the police arrived. You'd think he'd calm down at this point, seeing armed officers, but no, he didn't care. As soon as one of the guards loosened their grip, the boy lunged at one of the cops. And that's when it ended. Another officer immediately pulled out a taser and fired. The boy collapsed, convulsing on the pavement before being restrained and cuffed. He was arrested on the spot. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. Not Andrew, not Ben, and not even the elderly woman. But to this day, we all wonder what would have happened if the guards or the police hadn't shown up in time. Or worse, if that bus full of people had crashed. Hello. My name is Mai Britt. I'm a woman from Norway, and this is a true story that happened to me a long time ago. I was 18 at the time, and I had just moved in with my partner, Alex. We loved going out exploring, to the mall, cafes, anywhere at all during the day. But one day, we decided to come home a little earlier than usual, and looking back, I'm really glad we did. When we got home, I locked the door, or at least I thought I did. You see, I'm hard of hearing, and sometimes I forget to check if I've actually locked the door, especially since I'm always the one who walks in last. That day, we didn't think much of it. We just sat down to watch TV like usual until we heard loud screaming. It was coming from our neighbors. She lived in the apartment right next to us, and we were used to hearing her yelling at odd hours, especially in the middle of the night. Doors slamming, things breaking. But this time, it was during the day. Alex heard footsteps in the hallway, and then suddenly he turned the TV off. We both went quiet, and that's when we heard it. Someone was at our front door, stabbing it over and over again. We froze. Alex looked at me and whispered,
"Oh no, I might have forgotten to lock it."
My heart dropped. I crept slowly to the door and checked. It was locked, thank God. Then came the screaming.
"Let me in! Open the door!"
She was screaming, swearing, stabbing the door again and again. We could hear the metal scraping as she carved X's into the wood. She even went to another neighbor's door. She sounded furious through the locked door, and she was determined to get inside. She started kicking the door, slamming her body against it, and shouting.
Have we called the police yet?
"Open the door!"
I told Alex frantically.
"Call the police now."
He did, and he told the operator.
"Our neighbor is trying to break in. She's stabbing the door. Please send help."
The operator asked if we could see anything.
Do you have a peephole or window to look through?
She's stabbing the door. Let me put my fucking eye up to it while she's stabbing the door.
We said no, but we told her.
"It has to be a knife or some sharp weapon. She's hitting the door hard."
I started crying while Alex stayed on the line. We waited and waited.
Yeah, man, it's fucking weird.
And then we heard the police sirens in the distance, getting closer and closer. They caught her right outside our door, still holding the knife. She didn't even run. They took her into custody immediately. Later, we found out she was evicted and placed into rehabilitation, and we never saw her again. My name is Sparsh. This incident happened when I was 15 years old. My parents were out of town on vacation celebrating their anniversary. They wanted me to come with them, but I had exams the following week, so I stayed back home alone. My mom, being the protective person she is, asked her friend from society to send her son, Sahil, to stay with me. Sahil was 18 years old. I also have an older brother who was 23 at the time, but he was working in a different state. He was planning to come home in a few days. The first 3 days went by smoothly. Sahil and I had a lot of fun, nothing out of the ordinary. Then came the night before my brother's return. He told me he'd be arriving early in the morning, around 4 a.m. So I thought, why not just stay up all night and study? Since I didn't want any distractions, I told Sahil not to stay over that night. After dinner, I got comfortable and started studying. It was 10 p.m. Everything was fine. I kept my head in the books for another few hours until around 2:20 or 2:25 a.m. I suddenly heard a loud crash coming from the second floor. It sounded like something very heavy had fallen.
I would ignore it. I wouldn't care. Not happening. I would message my parents. I would message Sahil. And I would message my brother. And then I would leave it at that. Make sure all my doors and windows are locked. I would leave it at that.
At first, I tried to brush it off as my imagination. But then I heard footsteps. My heart dropped. I froze for a moment, trying to process what I'd just heard. Now, the second floor of my house isn't connected to the first floor.
Wait, I thought he was in an apartment building. It's his house. That changes everything. Oh no!
There's no interior staircase. That meant whoever or whatever was up there didn't come from inside. It must have entered through the terrace or balcony. Panicked, I turned the TV on full volume and started talking loudly to myself, trying to make it seem like I wasn't alone. I kept that act going for a whole hour.
That's smart.
I grabbed a bat, double-locked the main door, and pushed a sofa in front of it. I sat there, bat in hand, terrified. I don't even remember falling asleep. Next thing I
Oh, we're cooked. We're fucking cooked, dude.
knew, the doorbell rang. I jolted awake. It was morning, and that had to be my brother. Still nervous, I opened the door just a crack
The
to
bat,
check,
yeah, man.
and thankfully, it was him. I told him everything, and together, we went upstairs to check, and what we
I wonder what's
saw
up there.
shook me to my core. The entire second floor was a mess. Clothes
the
and
fuck?
belongings were scattered everywhere. But the worst part, there was a knife on the floor. A knife that didn't belong to us. Looked like the intruder had tripped over something, dropped the knife, and made a run for it. We called the police. They found no other evidence, but they did take the knife for fingerprint analysis. 1 month later, there was a robbery and a murder in our society. The police believe it was the same person, and he was still out there. Since then, everyone, including us, installed CCTV cameras in our homes. Our society now has 2 security guards on duty full time. But
That's
even
not
with
good.
all that, I still get chills thinking about that night. Because if I had gone to sleep early like I usually do, I don't know if I'd be here to tell this story.
He did the right thing, but going to sleep was not good. Also, this is the end of this video here, but if you do have any video recommendations, I do have a Discord that will be linked in the description. The original video will be linked in the description. And don't forget to like, and I will see you next time. Bye.